Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. Hey friends, welcome back to the Healthy Beyond 40 podcast. Today we're talking about something that I think it's really misunderstood in the health world is movement versus exercise. And I've had this conversation with a few people recently, so I wanted to share it with all you guys. Because movement and exercise are not the same thing. And understanding the difference is really important and can be a game changer, especially when we're trying to lose weight. So let's define them to start with. Movement is your daily activity. So think just your normal walking, maybe you're cleaning, maybe gardening, walking your dog, you walk from the parking lot into a store, you take the stairs. So it's just that movement in our everyday life. So it's not being sedentary. This could also be as we hear people talk about getting your steps in or hitting that 10,000 step goal. That is movement. We are meant to move a lot. Just in the way our society has come, our movement has decreased and decreased and decreased. Most of us has very sedentary jobs. So me sitting here as a coach and an online personal trainer and a podcaster, I do a lot of sitting when I'm actually working. But if we were around 100 years ago, most of us would be a lot more active during the day. And that's the way our bodies are meant to be. So the other piece, exercise, is more intentional. So think of this when we're lifting weights and we're feeling our muscles burn. We're strengthening our muscles. That is exercise. Or if someone does cardio where that heart rate is getting up really high, that is exercise. So I want you to think of exercise where your heart rate's getting up or your muscles are getting that burn. Now, you guys might like this. So what do we need to lose weight, be healthy, to get our metabolism shifted in the right direction? We only need a little bit of exercise. So that strength training that we're trying to do, we only need a little bit of that. But what we do need is a lot of movement. So most people get this backwards and they really try to get like a lot of exercise in. They might do a lot of cardio, a lot more strength training. But we really need to flip this. We need to get a lot of movement and a little bit of exercise. And this really helps our metabolism to be fueled up and working. So when we're building that muscle and we have more muscle, that's sort of our firehouse burning off calories. And also when we have this low level of movement, so not cardio, this low level of movement, then that also helps our metabolism too, without sending us into this alert zone. So sometimes for people, cardio can send our body into this alert zone, like, hey, I need more food. I just burned off a bunch of calories. Now people can slowly bump up their cardio so that they're not getting in that danger zone. Like some people will actually end up eating more when they add cardio in and they're not getting the results they want. So we want a lot of movement and a little bit of exercise. So I want you guys to keep this in mind. I want you to look at what you're doing now and to see where that is. And I encourage you that if you've been trying to do this whole get healthy thing on your own and you are feeling like you're spinning your wheels, then reach out. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is because they're trying to figure this out all by themselves. But the truth is having someone in your corner makes all the difference. And I offer a free coaching call. It's laid back. We can chat by phone or video. There's no pressure. We're just going to talk about your goals, what's been getting in the way, and what you actually need to move forward. Most of my clients tell me that the number one thing that helps them is the support and accountability. And of course, some of that knowledge that they need. And knowing that someone's checking in on them, cheering them on, helping them adjust when life happens. Like not shaming them when they go off their plan, but encouraging them, pointing them in that right direction. And I see that when clients finally commit to getting support, they're able to start to maintain consistency that they haven't had before. So if you're tired of trying to do this alone and you're ready to get a little help from someone who gets it, let's talk. There's no shame, no pressure, just taking that step forward. And I give teachers, military, and frontline workers a 10% discount. Just mention that on the call. There's going to be a link in the description down below where you can sign up for your free call. All right, so I probably already gave you the most valuable information of this podcast, but we have to keep that in mind. A lot of movement, a little bit of exercise, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into this. So movement and exercise really help to keep us young. So let's zoom in a little bit on movement. So when we're getting movement in, we're just moving our body throughout the days. We're getting in and out of chairs. Maybe we're walking to the kitchen and back. It's allowing our joints to move. And when we move our joints and we move our muscles, we get blood flowing. Can help to fight off stiffness. Because if as we get older, we're moving less and less and less, it's going to be harder to move. So there was this unknown quote that I found. It says, you don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving. And we can sort of see this with people like aging at all different paces. So you've probably seen someone in their 60s who can't move that well. And over the years and decades, they've just chosen not to walk. And you've probably seen someone who's older in their 70s or 80s who has taken health seriously and who has tried to stay active, and they're moving a lot better. So we're going to feel a lot older if we stop moving, if we stop exercising. So we want to make sure that we're keeping this movement up as we're getting older. We don't want to prematurely age ourselves. We want to keep our body feeling strong. We want to be able to do those things in everyday life. So maybe for you, going to the grocery store, carrying your groceries in and out of your car isn't too much of a thing. But if we start moving less and less and less, those things get harder. And maybe there is something in your daily life that is hard because you've lived this life where maybe you're working or you're just more sedentary and you haven't been moving that much. But guys, you can change this at any age. Whether you're 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you can start working out. You can increase your movement. You can increase your strength at any age. And that's going to change the way you feel. And so especially as we talk about exercise and building strength, our muscle mass can really start to decrease, especially if we are not working on it. And it's only going to get worse as we get older, especially once we hit our 60s. So we really want to have as much muscle mass as we can so we can keep our independence, so we can protect our bones, so we can boost our metabolism. The more muscle we have, the more calories we're going to burn. So if we have more muscle, that means we could actually eat more and still maintain our weight because that muscle is going to be burning more calories than the fat in our body. And so a little side note here, especially when you're on a weight loss journey, you want to do whatever you can to not lose muscle as you're losing weight. And a lot of people don't really know this because it may not be something that you're looking at. But if you're losing weight rapidly, maybe you can think of weight loss medications where people might lose weight rapidly. Most likely they're losing fat, but they're also losing muscle along with it. And anytime we go on some strict diet where we're losing weight fast, we're probably losing muscle along with it. So we want to make sure to lose weight slowly, to have that strength training, to make sure that we're eating enough protein to really build our muscle mass. So we want to go into our 60s, 70s, 80s with as much muscle mass as we can. It really has a big effect on our health, even our immune system. If we were to get an injury, that muscle mass is huge. And there's a lot of research that is going on and that has come out about this, about needing a good amount of muscle mass and how that can help us as we're aging. Now, if you stick to this formula of a lot of movement and a little bit of exercise, it can help your mood and energy. So sometimes if we go down that path of a lot of exercise, it can actually tank our energy, tank our mood. But when we focus on a lot of movement, a little bit of exercise, then we can have more energy. So I don't know about you, but some days when I'm feeling more tired and I go out for a 20-minute walk, it can totally shift my mindset. I can have more energies. Isn't it interesting? Like expending energy by walking or even doing a quick workout can make us have more energy. So most other people I talk to feel this exact same way. So sometimes we just have to get up and get moving, and that can help regulate our hormones. It can reduce anxiety. It can reduce overwhelm. It helps to shift our thinking and our perspective. Sometimes it gets the blood flowing in our body, which also means we might have more blood flowing to our brain. So notice this if it's happened to you. If you're feeling down and low in energy, get a little walk in, do a little movement and see how you feel. And if it does change, remember that so you can use that for proof the next time that you're feeling tired. And I just want to take a quick break to share my favorite green juice with you guys. It's the Organifi green. So especially if you're feeling run down, stressed, or your hormones are all over the place, it's a really simple way to start your day. So I like having it in the morning with some unsweetened almond milk. Sometimes I put water in there too, and I add extra protein powder, and I have that along with my breakfast. I really like Organifi's brand because it has a clinical dose, so a full dose of ashwagandha, and that can help to balance cortisol. It's an adaptogen herb, so it helps our body and supports our body. I also really like Organifi's Gold. It's a great drink to have in the evening that's calming. I also like to have this, especially before my cycle starts, and why I have my cycle, because it has turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory, reishi mushroom, ginger, lemon balm is a great calming herb. And all this can help to relax your body and lower inflammation. And again, I like to mix mine with some unsweetened almond milk, and it's really just this cozy drink before bedtime. So make sure you guys check the description down below. Use the code HEALTHY20 to save 20% off your order. And you can use that code anytime, and it typically combines with other specials that they have going on. All right, so back to the topic of exercise. So people don't often think of this, but exercise just makes us feel strong and capable. As I was talking to one of my clients today, she's been doing my workouts for a while, and she just notices that she's stronger. Her legs are stronger. Like when we have more strength, that feels so good. We're able to feel our muscles working. Maybe in real life, we're able to lift something heavy. Recently, with moving into our new house, we had to move things in the house, and there was like this table me and my husband had to move that was so heavy. I was able to do it. It felt like I was able to barely do it, but I was able to do it because I have strength. I've been working my muscles. So really leaning into getting strong and feeling strong and how that can change your life. So for example, maybe going up a flight of stairs is hard right now. Imagine what that feels like if you can go up that flight of stairs and not be out of breath. And literally that was me after my third kid. And he is 12 now. But I remember after him going up a flight of stairs, being out of breath, being like, oh my goodness, I'm only in my 30s. Like, this is not what I want. But I also had 3 little ones at that time and knew that I didn't have a lot of time to devote. But it goes back to the simple principle. I only needed a little bit of exercise, and that was all I did. And then eventually it takes time and consistency, but I was able to go up the flight of stairs without feeling out of breath. And I know that you can have this too. So think of your life and how would you want to feel stronger? Like how would that show up in your life if you were stronger? Or if you had more endurance to go up a flight of stairs or to go on a hike with people and not feel wiped out. I want you guys to take this mindset that I can do hard things. I can remain consistent in my exercise so that I can feel better and feel stronger. So I also want you guys to keep this in mind, is that you can't really undo 10, 12 hours of sitting with just a 30-minute workout a few times a week. Our bodies are meant to move often, not just once a day. Again, if we scan back to where our lives were 100 years ago, not ours personally, but our ancestors, what they were doing, it was a lot more movement. So when we're thinking of our movement, I want you to think of these sort of daily deposits. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. So I have one client right now that she has a desk job, but she makes sure to get up in the morning and get a walk in. And then immediately after work, she is getting an exercise in or movement. So she sort of alternates. And she's trying now with her, it's harder like for her to stop her work, but she's trying to get little walks in just within the room she's in during her work day. So we really have to think about how can we move more. If I am at a sedentary desk job? How can I start my day off so that I feel better? And it goes back to like, sometimes if we start with that movement, we have more energy. So I'm going to bring all of this together in an example for you. So I'm going to change the name, but let's say I have a client called Nina. And when she started working with me, she knew she needed to exercise. So she did commit to 3 times a week, which ideally I like people to get that up to 5 times a week. So just planting that little seed in your mind. And she was doing great. And I always just meet clients where they are. So if it's that 3 times a week, that's where we're going to start. And she was definitely getting stronger. But she wasn't getting quite where she wanted to be. She felt stronger, yes. But when we looked at her daily routine, we realized that she was only getting about 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day. And that's actually really common when I talk to people. Because a lot of us have desk jobs or we're just busy. There's other things going on. Our life isn't set up to get a lot of steps. So she has these workouts a few times a week, but really the rest of her day was mostly sedentary. And then she would have those days she wasn't even doing the workouts. So those were even more sedentary. So we talked about ways that she could add more movement to her day. So I wanted her to start with this movement piece first before we progress to maybe adding a couple more days of exercise. So nothing extreme. We just started with small stuff. Things like taking a short walk at lunch, parking further in a parking lot, standing up before work, going out for some intentional walks and doing something that she enjoys, like listening to a podcast or doing a walk on a treadmill where she can watch a show that she enjoys. And she slowly started to bump up her steps to about 7,000 a day. And then she could see that when she was consistent with that, things started to shift. She had more energy. Her clothes were fitting better. She even noticed things like stairs were getting easier. So here you can see the exercise wasn't the problem, but she needed more movement throughout her day. So sometimes we just need to zoom out and see where we are. So what can you do today? So maybe that's go for a walk, even if that means you're just starting with 10 minutes. That's a win. We can start small. You know, we don't go from like 3,000 steps to 7,000 steps just like that with consistency. So don't minimize taking a small or a quick walk. If you're working, stand up. See how you can go from one end of your house to the other. Or if you're in the office, same idea. If you're ready, pick days to start doing strength training. Keep it small, 15 to 30 minutes. You can start with body weight stuff at home and then progress to maybe where you're using weights or something else. But keep things simple to start with. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start moving. So sometimes these little habits that we can have can really lead to big changes. All right, so that's it for today, friends. Keep moving, keep showing up for yourself, and keep reminding yourself that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be 10,000 steps or like my normal 3,000. We can work at 4,000, 5,000 and build it up. We just need to get started and we need to have a way to maintain some consistency. All right, friends. So if you're not walking while you're listening to this, I encourage you to get up and head out for a walk.